Hello, our friends, Evolutionary Energy Arts family. I hope everybody is doing well out there.
Hello there, everybody. Technically, Skydra Deanna, you are first. Watch out for that sassy Susie. We'll just watch out for her. Scott, good to see you. So glad that you made it. Hope everybody's having a good day. And the energies have been a little bit off. Hi, yay, Miss Xenomorphic. Good to see you. So far, so good. Everything's great.
Draymond in Puerto Rico, good to see you. Sin Havoc, woohoo. Vildon's in the house. Hello, Star Strangers. And
Now it's Mike's turn to play.
that was me. Okay. Yeah, I recognize that guy's voice. Prosperity 20, Prosperity 12, Haywire 5, Ron Simpson, Israel, good to see you as always, and oneness, blessings, beautiful people.
Oh my gosh, good. Everybody's rolling on in. I mean, the energies have been really tough. I don't know if you guys can tell, but they've been difficult. And I mean, to add, how do they say that? To add injury to insult, we're going to have Saturn going in retrograde pretty soon. Ouch. Ouch. Saturn loves to shake his finger at you and tell you what you're doing wrong. That's like what Saturn lives for. Miss Annie Lou, good to see you. Hello there, Amanda. Good to see you too. Elwin Oneness. Hi. Israel.
Sin Havoc, the cosmic ocean. Do we have a cosmic ocean
Did you
tidal wave?
feel the cosmic ocean tidal wave? Oh my gosh, yes.
Ah, oneness is back on the road. Yeah. Are you still in Cali, California, or out of Cali at this point? Did you get the feeling to go to higher ground, maybe, or head away from the coastlines? Very curious. The energy has been wonderful. Loving the waves. Yes, Pinch Runner here as well. Good to see you.
Yes. Hello there, Pinch Runner. I hope the puppies are gathered around. It's a lot of good energy. Our pups go right to sleep as soon as we go to work or work on someone or we're doing a video. They just zonk right out. Hello there, Miss Diana. Good to see you. Miss Elena, thank you so much. I don't know if I got to say thank you for your super chat last time, Elena. Thank you so much. Jen and the birds, there you are. Glad that you're here.
In Oregon in the mountains. Beautiful, beautiful. Man, I was just pointing out to Cindy one of the Bigfoot hotspots, the Olympic Peninsula. Love to be able to go camp there at some point in time. It would be so much fun. Waterfall purifying my being. That sounds beautiful. Beautiful. I thought it was interesting that Diana and Elena came back to back into the chat room as they are basically like neighbors over there in Western North Carolina. Actively recording crazy horizontal lightning in Asheville. Yeah, pretty wild. I forget. I think you were on the eastern side, right, of Asheville, like around Black Mountain. There's so much. It's so fun when you start diving down these rabbit holes into like all. I find cryptids just fun in general. Everything cryptid, everything kind of, supernatural, whatever you want to call it. But again, I don't think any of it's supernatural. It's just that we don't simply understand our own reality enough. That's the thing. And as always, guys, we want to invite everybody, go check out evolutionaryenergyarts.com. Check out the new market. Yes, we do have merchandise. Took us 9 years, but we finally have merchandise. So please do check it out. Lots of stuff there, and we'll be adding to that as well. Do check out LifeWave too, as this is something that we use every day. Cindy's always walking around with multiple patches on. It's like different combinations. And when she goes to bed at night, she's got a Bindu, her LifeWave Bindu patch on her third eye. I kid you not. The that is the, which patch is that one?
This is the aloe vera.
Aloe
So,
vera. So aloe
yes.
vera, it's said that when you put the aloe vera on your third eye, you have pretty wild, vivid dreams.
Well, you do. So it put it right there on that hippocampus, and it wakes up the copper cu peptide. I forgot the exact scientific name, but it definitely helps you build collagen. So it has been very helpful during my healing journey to have these things give me a bit of a boost. And I keep them all because I use them. I'll use them on my pups. I just keep them, and I use them on my pups if anything comes up. If somebody comes up lame or gets an owie, is not feeling good, nauseous, anything, I'll put it on there. And, depending on the issue, a day or so, and they're good. They're good. My dogs are 100 pounds ish each, and I could put one on them just as easily as I could put one on Sassy. I could put one on a chicken. I mean, they're so versatile, and you don't have to worry about what's going into your pet because it works off of the red heat, the red light, and it awakens stem cells. I love it.
So yeah, Oneness is enjoying Diamond Lake in Oregon. That looks beautiful. Yes, man, I'd love to get up to the Pacific Northwest. Really would. The farthest north on that side I've been to is Shasta. I haven't gone any farther. And while we're mentioning things from up north, people don't really realize the big effect that all these wildfires are having. Here you have Canada's toxic wildfire smoke is killing Americans on a scale greater than 9/11. A new study estimated that smoke from Canada's 2023 wildfires, not right now, the ones from 3 years ago, alone cost 4,100 acute deaths in the United States, 41,900 premature deaths across North America, and 82,100 deaths worldwide. The current 2026 wildfires will unfortunately cause more. That's massive. We see, this is the thing, we don't really understand the cost of events like this until well after the fact. You might only hear of a few deaths here, a few deaths there, but the people that are just like right on that borderline between life and death, literally fighting for their lives, those are the ones that get nudged over when the environment is less than optimal. This is a massive thing to realize. So what's going on really? What is the real cause? One of our regular family members that we deal with was saying she can't get over the feeling that the wildfires in Canada, they're hiding something too. What do you guys think they could possibly be hiding? I had some impressions come to me, but I'd like to see. Do you guys think that there's anything that the wildfires in Canada are promoting or providing a smoke screen for? I think that's a good way to put it.
It's definitely a distraction, if nothing else. It's a distraction because that's one of their favorite games is, oh, look this way, look that way while we pass this bill and pass that bill, and oh, oops, you have no power now. You have no control, and we just passed bills that are just gonna allow us to take your farm away and kick you off your land. Yeah, that's what they do. So, I mean, at the very least, you can figure that it's definitely a distraction. But people, this is bad. It makes me wonder, my gosh, is this just another wave of taking humanity's ability to live in 3D? Is it just a wide sweep? I just want to be very careful with my words. Is it just another modality they use to thin or cull the herd?
Yeah, absolutely. Good to see you, Lucid Farms. I hope dinner comes out well. Says still a little bit of haze here in southeast Michigan. Our dear friend Karmadoc is from southern Michigan, southern central Michigan. So you might be pretty close to her. A lot of you guys are actually pretty close together. So Zeno Jen says things are coming out of the ground. It's how it's felt. At least here, maybe not Canada. I had 2 different visions recently that stuck with me. Today I was trying to remote view what are they hiding with the Canadian wildfires? And what I got was like zombies in military outfits. And I don't know exactly what that means, but yeah, zombies. It looked like The Walking Dead, but in military uniforms. And they weren't they weren't the United States military uniforms, I don't think. Um, to me, my impression is I wonder how many CCP troops are up there in Canada right now. That's really what I was feeling. I wonder, there's been rumors for years that there's Chinese troops up in Canada. There's actually even been video that was taken years ago in British Columbia, if I remember right, showing Chinese troops. I wouldn't be surprised if they're on the move right now. It might sound crazy to some, but it goes back to other visions that I've had, and other people too have had these types of visions about our current time frame.
So, just thinking about the zombies there in military, is that a fear of people losing their identity? Is it the uniforms can symbolize discipline or hierarchy? Um, Fear of dehumanization, so there's definitely some type of emotional tie there. Or, is it a fear of very rigid systems? We got to kind of consider everything whenever we do have a vision or a dream. There's of course there's underlying things about it that may tell us like what are our real fears, and then where does that come from? It's like, why do we even get the visions sometimes? It's, if not for a message, but do we always take every single one to heart? Well, I don't know. I guess it depends on how you feel. If you're someone who gets visions a lot, you might not take every single one to heart because you might be tired. You might just, want to live your 3D life and do your 3D thing and not always follow the breadcrumbs with every single thing. And I don't know that that's a healthy way to be. We do have to stay here in the 3D, but it is something to think about. People losing their individuality is kind of concerning, and I think that's kind of what they're doing.
Wow. Okay. So, some of you guys are feeling that too. Xenomorph was saying yes, CCP. And Elena said years ago, I dreamed of Chinese military crossing the Canadian border. Yep. That's exactly what I saw. Emma says it was Salt Spring, where the military in Canada and Obi, Ontario. Steve Quayle accounted for 50,000 of them years ago, Pinch Runner says. Canadian government has legislation for them to come and go from the country as their masters please. Yeah, I think, again, the Canadian government is run by the group that wants to shift power to China. That's part of that same group. I think ultimately that's the Weefers and, that part of things that seem to want to go that route. We'll go into a few other things first because there's so much. I did see also somebody was saying about military deals and trade deals. Yeoman Brutal Shock. Gut instinct informs me this being done purposely as a negotiation tactic for trade agreements. Here you go, reacting to President Trump's threats to tariff Canada over wildfire smoke. Ontario Premier Doug Ford fired back, saying his country has sent help to the U.S. for its wildfires, including last year, and didn't complain about the smoke blowing north. So you could see this. They certainly give the illusion that 47 and those that support 47's side of things are against those that support the CCP, China taking the lead, taking the United States spot as the preeminent power on the planet. So it certainly seems like there is a conflict there. Yet at the same time, it may all be just manipulation ultimately, just using it as a smokescreen.
That's what they do.
Yeah, flash flood kills 5 family members near Bicknell, Utah. Flash flood near Sunglow campsite outside Bicknell, Utah killed 5 members of a family on Friday after they arrived to the area to hike and canyoneer, according to local reports. This was this the one that was the firefighter, or
I
is
don't know.
or is that a different one? Let's see. Sheriff Micah Gully said the family had arrived in Sunglow Campground 11:30 MDT on the 17th. Search crews then found 2 additional deceased males in the same wash, while 2 other people connected with family remained missing through Friday night. Death toll to 5. The family was caught in flooding caused by heavy rain in the area. Holy crap, that's an understatement. I know we've talked about this, but man, the flooding has been absolutely bonkers. And the earthquakes, this was only a 5.5. This is in Peru, in the Andes, but it claimed at least 6 lives, and many houses were damaged, as you can see. It's amazing how a 5.5 in this area, with the construction the way it is, with the ground the way it is, can deliver so much damage. Again, we send our prayers to all these people and those caught in the floods. It's such a sad situation, but we could see these quote unquote earth change events, they are seriously ramping up.
Oh, they are. They are. So it's so sad. Let's set the intention that, guides and angels are out there helping people as this occurs, because that's what we do. We come together and we try to help where we can energetically, because we're all sort of stuck where we're at. So, yeah, very unfortunate. And it's been a wild ride. It really has. Lately, I'm not sure what to make of all the earth changes and everything that's going on.
Yeah, and the other thing besides the zombies, that was today that they gave me that vision when I was trying to pick up on what is going on, where they're trying to hide. Zombies, to me, it looked like in Chinese military outfits. They also had before twice given me visions of them boring tunnels underground to create more of a problem with the earthquakes and the things that are being kind of set up for the, I think, very near future.
Yeah, it's something that we just need to keep an eye on, because I think things are going to get a little bit crazier and a little bit crazier.
Yeah, absolutely. It is true. In manufacturing, China already leads the way. Absolutely. Tropical storm and storm surge watches expanded from Florida to Louisiana, actually all the way to Texas. Be on the lookout all along the northern part of the Gulf here. This system, it seems to be having the potential that it could end up being a tropical storm. Certainly, wouldn't even surprise me if it became a low-level hurricane. Again, it might not matter. The problem is the flooding. And if it does make it all the way to hill country, it's already seriously flooded in Texas hill country. So I don't think we need to be so concerned about the wind strength. It's running into excessive waterfall, which we've already had in some areas. Now, at the same time, Florida could use the rain. So, the rain happening closer to the Florida side of things would not be so bad. But the way this is lining up, here you go, and you see it looks like it may very well skim along Louisiana coast and then head over around Lake Houston eventually, possibly affect again the Texas Hill Country, which has had a massive amount of flooding already.
Yeah, that's really bad.
So we will definitely watch this one and look for evidence of steering. Cars swept away, powerful flash floods hit Romania's mountain town. So everywhere you look, this is what we have, this craziness. This is everywhere. It's like all around the world. I don't think anybody could deny that this just seems to be ramping up and going to higher and higher levels. It's not slowing down. Wildfire scorches 65,000 plus acres north of Madrid in Spain. Spain is going through massive wildfires as we speak, and they have been. They're also having a little sparring contest verbally with the United States and Israel. As you see this, USA, give us your military bases. In other words, let us use them. Spain, no. And U.S. will suspend the trade agreement. Go ahead. We'll withdraw 3,000 troops from Spain. Go ahead. Kick Spain out of NATO. Yeah, whatever. Again, you have this Spanish prime minister who is saying a lot of things that a lot of us would like to see, showing independence. Also, responding to the leader of that small country begins with an I in the Middle East. They're going back and forth. He just responded to that leader who was saying that, again, in some way he was attacking them. He says, we're not defaming you, we are describing you. And again, calling what's happened in Gaza for what a lot of people, us included, think it is. And, bringing up that International Criminal Court, which does have a warrant out for Netanyahu's arrest, by the way. There's a lot of tension, a lot of anxiety, a lot of different countries going after each other, and systems are not really seeming like they're going to hold together for too long. And astrologically, this is a big turning point. This is a huge turning point. This is kind of like the foundational point for when humanity says, we will never trust you again, and we're going to move forward knowing that we don't trust you with anything. Who are we talking about? Well, we're talking about people like Ursula. EU sanctions package fractures. 6 member states demand exemptions. Germany and Portugal seek food industry protection. France and Italy push to ease visa curbs. Austria demands asset freezes. Greece wants shadow fleet restrictions diluted. In other words, it feels like the EU is going to split up. And a lot of things I think are going to split up. The Slovak parliament just adopted a historic amendment. From now on, national law will take priority over European law. Wow, that's great. So again, the EU is starting to fracture. It's a direct step towards strengthening the sovereignty and independence of Slovakia. 90 out of 99 MPs present voted in favor for this. So, yeah, this is a good thing. In my mind, we have to break up. If they want to create a complete one world order, well, we don't want to have it to be the world order that's been here. That's been just nothing but a disaster. And so obviously, I could see the world having a one world order that's founded on peace, sovereignty, loka samasta sukhi no bhavantu, all beings having the freedom and self-autonomy to make their own decisions, to not be told that they got to do this, they got to do that, including and everything else, even taxes. Again, break it all down to smaller parts. Personally, think we would have a lot more freedom if it followed suit within the U.S. too. Alice Weidel exposes Zelensky's secret offshore accounts and demands immediate freezing of billions. Theft of a century, somewhat paid for by the German taxpayer. Not just Germany that's given Ukraine money. Obviously, the U.S. is number one there. Ukrainian soldiers sacrificed as cannon fodder. Some people say that Russia's lost 1 million soldiers and Ukraine might have lost a similar amount. Well, that's an enormous amount of people. And yet these leaders, in my mind, and many other people's minds, they're just doing this to have golden toilets.
Yeah, they don't mind at all.
No, they're just doing it for power and greed and money. And really, it's just a scam in so many ways because it's been completely a setup on a very, very large level. Critical decision from French airline Air France. Due to security reasons, it has suspended all flights to Saudi Arabia and UAE for a period of 7 days. Something is approaching. Well, yeah, obviously, this is, WW3 that has again been planned for probably at least 150 years, maybe more. David Icke, I know, posted something today saying, don't you realize this has been planned going back at least like 70, 75 years, but it was even beyond that. You have the Albert Pike statements back in 1871 about 3 world wars. Again, a day to the Lord is as if 1,000 years, and 1,000 years to the Lord, 1,000 years to us is as if one day. So again, if you have beings like what we would call the Anunnaki that maybe live 500 years, 1,000 years, maybe 10,000 years, look to, again, the Greek and also the Vedic myths and legends about different yugas. We went from the Kali Yuga into the Bronze Age. Yes, we just stepped out of the Kali Yuga, and we have a long way to go. There's a transition period that we're in. It's going to be a bumpy transition period. But it's stated that in a Bronze Age, people could live up to 1,000 years long. And then again, in the Bible itself, you have Methuselah living 969 years. So if you think that Methuselah was literally alive during the last Bronze Age, that makes all the sense in the world. So that's where we're heading. We are on the ascending side of things. But again, the darkness is not going to just hand the keys to the kingdom over to us.
No, they're going to do what they do on the way out. So all we can really do is keep ourselves stabilized and do our best to stay together and, do what we can to help each other wherever we can, but really, I think things are going to get a little worse, come August.
Yes, and thank you guys again for doing the thumbs up, and thank you for your support. We couldn't do it without you guys. 9 years, I think about 6,000 videos. It's been a long, long ride. And, Lucid Farm says we're going to go through a very extreme depopulation period. I think so, any way you look at it, but at the same time, I think it could be much, much less than what they've given us. And I really don't think they're going to get what they want ultimately. If what they wanted was 500 million to 1 billion, according to the Club of Rome, the Georgia Guidestones, and other things, again, the Deagle report gave you numbers that showed about 560 million people in NATO countries not being there anymore. That was forecast back in 2017. And the year they gave was 2025 for their, time frame. Again, if we move that back, say, a year or two, then you could see that, perhaps they're still trying to achieve that, but not succeeding, which is a good thing. Here you have nearly 100 U.S. troops have been injured the last 2 weeks of the Iran war. Private Isabella Gonzalez, 19, and First Lieutenant Tyler James Freehan, 25, were killed in an Iranian attack on a military base in Jordan. Very sad. We send, again, our prayers out to their families and to their spirits. Again, man, you're just getting started, 19 years old, 25 years old. I understand that kids think they go into the military, they're going to get their retirement, they're going to get their pensions. They'll get schooling. There's a lot of benefits, and this is why they do what they do. It's a lot of times for the benefits. But then again, the sacrifice can be everything. And then what is it really for? In this case, this war didn't have to come. It didn't have to happen. It really didn't. They just totally manufactured this.
Crypto Geezer, thank you so much for your support. May all our actions in our own lives contribute in some way to the happiness and to that freedom for all. Absolutely. Thank you so much for that. And that's going to be our intention, and we'll just hold that steady. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much. And if anybody has emailed us and it's been a couple days getting back to you guys, I apologize. We've just been trying to do everything we can do when the weather is tolerable, to set up more of a homestead, because I really do believe it's going to be a bumpy road. I can't believe the price of food. Well, I can. I expected it to be here, but it's just getting insane when you go to food shopping, and literally it's way more expensive than a car payment, and maybe even more than what your mortgage is. It's getting to be that way. It's just incredible. Crypto Geezer, thank you so much for everything. We really appreciate it. This is Alex Jones. I won't play the whole thing for you, but what he's doing is being very, very facetious. And basically, what he says is, it's time to be patriotic and fully support nuclear war with Iran and Russia that's going to end up depopulating the planet so Greater Israel could come around. Yeah, so Israel could become Greater Israel. Is that really it? Lose billions of people just to make Israel a bigger country? Is that really what this is all about? I think everything is different to whoever we're talking about perspective. When you're talking about the politicians themselves, they're mostly just doing it for money, for wealth, for fame, all that, ego, pride, greed. When you're talking about the real controllers, they have, quotas to make. And you got to realize humans are being managed just like humans manage flocks and herds. It's true. There's a time to sow and there's a time to reap. And the ones that have been cultivating this planet, have down that this is the time where they reap the harvest. It's even in the Bible, the tares and the wheat, right? I mean, that's what they look at us like. That's how they view us. Assets. That's it. Just assets.
Yeah, I mean, you can really just learn a lot by observing farmers and how farmers run their farm. I mean, you have some good farmers and some not so good farmers, but still farmers nonetheless. And we are basically that cattle. And when you really look into it and look at some names of certain brands, say like from 7-Eleven, and I don't even want to say the word, but it's the really yummy food. They see us as cattle. They truly see us as cattle. And we really cannot forget that, when we buy our food and when we take care of ourselves and even buy vitamins or go to the doctor, you can never forget that basically their role is just to contain us and keep us alive enough so we can feed them in the 3D and also feed other beings in the lower fourth, and how that goes. So when you go through life and you unfortunately you have that distrust, actually you're kind of better off because you know what's in store for you when you hold that distrust from whatever they're putting out there for us.
Yeah. So, again, I do see Emma says, she's holding out a vision for a new timeline. Yeah, I think we can. Honestly, I really think we've missed the worst possible timeline time and time again. I think that, when we're looking at what we have now, if they wanted a 95% population reduction, what's the worst that we've ever gotten from the guides? Well, that was looking at the population in 2030. This was back at the beginning of the plague upon the land. And I think what they were giving us, if my my memory is right, was somewhere more like maybe a 20 to 30% overall reduction, which is still gigantic, enormous, and catastrophic. But it certainly isn't 95%. reduction. And I think we could, do better than that. I think we could do way better than that. In fact, I think if we could get people to wake up quick enough, we still may be able to avert the worst of what's planned, because it is planned. It's very well planned. It's been planned for a long time. Madami weighs possible Netanyahu arrest in September at the UN General Assembly. Well, don't we have Yom Kippur in September? And Rosh Hashanah? Again, September is always a key month in that particular tradition. But, who is Madami anyway, right? Who is he really? When you look at it, oh, wait a minute, did that go? They took it away? Ah, jeez. I'm going to bring it up. Yeah, unless it got resorted somewhere else. I want to see, because I had something up right next to this, and it's gone.
Well, that's what they do, It's like the hidden hand that goes right after Mike sets everything up. Something else is there taking it down, and it's just constant struggle. And I got to tell you, it has been tough lately just to keep things going. I mean, we can't quit. We have this calling, so it's not like we can just quit. But sometimes it gets frustrating and so tired.
Yeah, absolutely. This is a photo that is supposedly showing New York Mayor Madami and his parents with, the E-Man and Giselle and Bill Clinton and Bill Gates. And I don't know who that is. So, yeah, he's completely manufactured. There is nothing organic about him. He is completely manufactured. Did he win an election? Yeah, don't wait for Santa Claus. Don't wait for Santa Claus. It's so structured. They're all actors, but again, people do lose their lives. People do lose their Social Security. Hope not, but definitely pensions and things like that. People can lose their savings. What does this mean? Again, it appears that there's two sides. The side that wants China to rise to dominance, the side that wants to keep the U.S. top power. And so obviously Madami would be on the same side as the Canadian leadership, Newsom over in California, the UK leadership, the EU leadership as well. And yet, they're all one big family. They're all one big family. But, again, families can bicker. Families can have ego and pride problems. By the way, President Trump says Netanyahu will not be arrested in the U.S. That's what he says again. And, the reason why could go right back to that picture and the guy standing behind Mamdani. That's the real reality.
Yeah, it's not very good. Everything that they have planned has been planned out for a very, very, very long time. So, what can we expect? We just have to take care of ourselves and do the best we can for us.
Yeah, and I saw that comment, Renee O'Leary, the Skyfall thing. Other people had picked up on the Skyfall symbolism that was being acted out in some way. And I think there's something to that. Everything is right there in the movies. So Skyfall, that's the one where James Bond is presumed dead after a botched mission in Istanbul, where M orders Montepenny to shoot a target, accidentally hitting Bond. But it's more than that. It's about, you need the whole plot summary there. It has to do with, again, a crazy, insane person that wants to release something on the world. And, again, you can't make it up because Klaus obviously looks like the ultimate Bond villain. But, again, releasing something, the Polish psychic Krzysztof Tchaikovsky does see something that's very real coming. But it could already be in place, and it could just be a time frame where if somebody did something at a certain point in time and got one of the unlucky lotto tickets, let's call it, there could be a time frame involved, and maybe that time frame is something like 6 years, 7 years, maybe it's 10 years, 12 years. Fauci once said that if we tried to make a cure for AIDS and got it wrong, it might be 10 or 12 years before you'd figure out we made a big boo-boo. So again, I do think that we can overcome things. The other wild card is the fact that we are really changing. We literally are changing. Our DNA is turning on, and many segments of our DNA that were turned off through genetic intervention, again, by the real control system. Nature and the true source of all is turning back on because we are changing the yugas.
And there's yugas within yugas. So we could still be in a Kali Yuga, yet be inside of a yuga, but be in a Bronze Age. So it is, we live in such a layered universe where things can be so very complicated and just a little bit too much for the human mind to handle. Our skin suits, they have these filters in them, and they're very, very deliberate for this realm. It's so that we can experience the 3D to its fullest. So not everything is meant to be completely understood, nor should it. It's kind of like a maze. You go into the maze and you don't know what's around every corner, and that's to create some suspense or something fun.
Yeah, absolutely. And Jen Zeno was saying, I forgot to ask you guys, do you do a mantra for Hanuman? Yeah, it's Om Shri Hanumate Namaha. And Hanuman is strength, perseverance, steadfastness, in face of insurmountable odds, having the strength and willpower to keep pushing through. So that's a great mantra for anything where you feel like you might falter, you feel like you might not be able to keep going, keep doing this, or, if you're maybe going to give in to some sort of temptation, some sort of thing that has plagued you and, over the years, maybe an addiction or something like that. That's a good one for overcoming it. Or even if it was a case where you're being bullied and picked on, that would be definitely one to build strength and perseverance. Hanuman, I'll ask Cindy, how would you describe Hanuman?
He's protection comes first, honor, authority, and humility is a big one. The further you go into your spiritual journey, usually humility overcomes ego, and that's very, very important. As I'm looking at two really cute baby spotted deers right outside my window. But, a being who has boundaries and means business, yet can be very gentle and cuddle a baby, a protector in a way where he's not traumatized. He's able to give his love to a very high degree and protect to the fullest with a great amount of humility.
Absolutely. So I was thinking, it's hitting me now as we're doing all this. I'm thinking tomorrow, guys, let's go live on Heart's Home. That's something we've never done. So I don't think we've ever gone live on Heart's Home. So that is our smallest channel. It's the high vibe channel, basically. So yeah, we'll go live there tomorrow around maybe either 5 or 6 Central. And I'll put out a notification to let everybody know. So we'll take a little break from the news tomorrow in that sense. Maybe we'll do an update video and then do a live on Heart's Home. And we could put out some seriously powerful positive intentions, as we're always trying to do. Here you see the U.S. attacked the Dark Hovane nuclear power plant site in Kazakhstan. Again, actually, there was the nuclear word used more than once. today in regards to the war. It's been said that the U.S. and Israel have used some small tactical nukes, and that they're perhaps getting ready to use something bigger, but like that, that could trigger a direct response, perhaps on other countries that haven't been hit yet, U.S. allies, or perhaps even the U.S. itself, or one of its territories. So, again, just something to be aware of. It's good to be aware. Now, this is W.R. Schrock. He is an inventor, quantum biodynamics. He is a brilliant guy, actually, and quite interesting. And I think he's got a pretty good grasp on a lot of things, that a lot of people don't quite understand. He says, very compelling, and verifies. This is 16 minutes long, so we'll go with synopsis. And it's really what I've been telling you the whole time since I started this channel 9 years ago. I was told all coastlines of all continents have hidden tactical nukes on the ocean floors. Tsunamis are the go-to for modern war. In fact, in World War II, while the U.S. was making the nuclear bombs for Hiroshima and Nagasaki, and again, there's some debate over whether they were truly nuclear. Again, the damage could be attributed to other things, including directed energy weapons that might be space-based in and of themselves. Satellites, back in the 40s? Yes, back in the 40s. Black Knight satellite, White Knight satellite, they've been up there since the Younger Dryas extinction event, they've been up there. So he says, move 100 miles away from any beach, you've been warned. And I shared with you guys that, we were warned. That's the one thing the guides told us. And I really wanted to go back to Florida, or even just along the coast, right along the Gulf Coast. The guides were really, really stern in that they didn't like the idea at all. So, that's why we are several hundred miles inland. Because if we do stay on this timeline, this becomes a real possibility. And, we've heard in the news, we saw Russia media again talk about setting off one of these things and flooding all of the UK. Some people have actually had visions of the southern part of the UK going underwater. I think Edgar Casey did, in fact. And we don't want that to happen. This is why we're pushing so hard for changing timelines. And some people will say, well, why do you even talk about it if you want to change timelines? Because they could still detonate them. That's the thing. They're still here. If they are intent on detonating them, if we ignore it, it doesn't mean they don't detonate them and all those people still lose their lives. So anyway, move 100 miles away from any beach, you've been warned, is what he's saying here.
There is I feel a little bit of a fault when people say, well, if you talk about it, you're going to bring it into existence. And I mean, I can argue that some pretty horrific things have happened in my life, and I didn't dream of them. I didn't talk of them. I didn't whisper of them. I didn't even know that these things could happen. So I find fault in that. I don't think that we're bringing it into existence because we talk about them, because the opposite is also true. I think we can, however, send good positive energy toward a situation and make it less traumatizing.
This is an extreme map that I don't really agree with. This was, I'm trying to think where he pulled this from. I forget what the guy, Gordon Michael Scallion made this map. I think this is way extreme. I do not think this is what it's going to look like. But at the same time, this is what WR pulled up. We'll be probably underwater if this is the scenario, because more than likely, if we weren't where we are now, in the greater Texarkana area, we would be in Nevada, or we'd be in southern Idaho, probably somewhere in this area, which this shows underwater. I don't think that's the case. But at the same time, I know we've had lives before. We've, left those lives, and then you have another life. So we totally believe that incarnation is for the soul to have experiences to learn and grow from. Some people are anchoring light where they are, and that's it. They're not going anywhere, even if they get swamped over, by 1,000-foot tidal waves. I don't think it's going to be that bad, but I think it is going to be, it's going to be challenging. But I think this is extreme, and I do hope it's extreme.
I don't think honestly that it would actually be nukes, because it'll tear the veil, and that's not healthy. That's not okay. But I don't put it past them to make it look like it was nukes.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what I've also said. I've said that again, going in videos all the way back to, pre-plague upon the land. I think the intention is that everybody thinks that there's been a nuclear war. And, they'll be told also, you can't go here anymore. You're not allowed. It's dangerous. It's a quarantine zone. It's radioactive. But I actually think they won't be radioactive. They're just going to do it to keep us in the cell cities, and to herd us into the cell cities. So this was an explosion here. This is outside of 26 Federal Plaza in New York City. It really was just flammable liquid and some fireworks, but it sure scared people. And again, this might have just been one random stupid act, but there are sleeper cells waiting for something, waiting for a go sign. The go sign may be, some sort of big act of war. Again, there's a reason why the sleeper cells haven't been activated yet. But they are there. As I look at the two little babies, they're about 18 inches, 20 inches maybe now today. Two fawns that were pretty much newborn. We saw the mama, when she was pregnant, and we have so many deer. Oh, I gotta tell you guys, I was coming back from my bike ride the other night, and I went down to where the farm is down by me. And when I went over there, it was a beautiful thing. What a scene. There was like 20 to 30 deer lying on the other side of the fence from all the cattle that were on the other side of the electric fence. It was like they were all hanging together and having a block party. Deer with cattle, with donkeys and pigs and all sorts of other stuff. It was so cool. I really think they were all communicating together.
Yeah, isn't it cute? Animals have a way of communicating, so I think it's pretty cool to just watch them, and you can kind of feel the communication. Like Mike could feel it when he walked by. I think that's what really made him feel it, because there was a certain communication.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And I see Dan came into the house. Good to see you, Dan, as well. Yeah, it's just really, yeah, very weird.
Poor Jack.
Yeah,
Sorry.
oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure why Dan's got deleted there.
It was an accident, because Jack
Okay.
is learning how to peck.
Oh, no.
Yes.
Oh, a bird did that.
Bird did it.
Oh, wow. Okay. Well, the bird's not quite ready for modship yet, so.
No.
But, as always, guys, we love you and appreciate you. President Trump drops this bombshell, revealing that the National Academy of Sciences have been caught red-handed publishing fraudulent manuals on climate change and the Green New Deal scam. So there's nothing that hasn't been planned. So what you're seeing, again, obviously it looks like there's a massive schism, like he is attacking, again, the Weefers and that crew again, which he may very well be doing. He just does what he's told, because, again, they're all actors, ultimately. But, yeah, absolutely. Again, the climate change thing, it was just to get that carbon tax in. We all know that now. All of us do. A cancer pill that costs $900 in the U.S. is sold for under $1 in India. The cost of the blood cancer drug Revlimid has spotlighted a massive healthcare divide and ignited global anger over medical price gouging. Yeah, it's freaking ridiculous. If they sell it for $900 and it could be sold for 50 cents, I mean, between 30 cents and $3 on the Indian market, you should be arrested for that. That should not be legal. Everybody that's pushing these scam prices in the healthcare system should be arrested, in my mind. It's robbery, it's rape, it's everything that's bad.
Well, it is really, really bad. And when Mike did have to go into emergency surgery, we he had no insurance. So it was really weird how had he had insurance, we would have paid 3 times more. But since he didn't have insurance, we got the other cost, but still was ridiculously high. When every little swab costs like $5. I mean, come on, it's just silly. It's a racket. And then they feed us the food that make us sick, that put us in the hospital to begin with, and then we have to pay for our sickness again.
Yeah. And again, we know they release the ticks that bite people that make them sick. They, again, have mosquito factories. Again, they give us food that's all full of toxins and cancer causing agents. They create the illness to make the profit. It's just that simple.
It's pretty messed up.
It is. And this is what humanity has to realize. We are more than being robbed. We are being brutalized. This has got to stop. This is just, it's beyond ridiculous. We should all be very, very upset with this. Chemical link to kidney cancer, thyroid cancer, DNA damage, and hearing loss is sitting in U.S. school lunches right now. It's banned in Canada, China, and the EU. Why is it here? Because, again, they want to shift power to China. So, again, this is part of now their big sacrifice, which they're sacrificing us. We are the sacrifice. Babylon the Great is the sacrifice. They always do sacrifices, and that's part of their thing. Why are we in the situation that we are in? When you look at the Deagle numbers, they showed the U.S. with 99 million people. The U.S. population is like 340 million. So you're saying like 2/3, 3/4 of the population they anticipated not being here anymore? I think they did, but I don't think they're achieving it. And we're starting to realize what's really going on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're starting to figure it out.
Yeah, as they drop like 16 people from the chat, because again, this is they can't afford this. They can't afford us figuring all this out. Most impressive of all, ivermectin cream completely clears skin cancers, basal cell carcinoma, squamous cell carcinoma, melanoma, heal and literally fall off. It also seems to be helpful in any sort of inflammatory or autoimmune skin condition, including rosacea, cystic acne, and eczema. Again, the profits that were made by the medical industry. Well, this says everything. Pfizer, spelled backwards, is Reszif, which is an ancient Hebrew Canaanite name for Reshef, the god of plague, pestilence, war, and the underworld. It's right there. It's right in front of us. It couldn't be any more obvious. Again, they create it to make profits and to get people that will sell out all of us to make their millions and to buy their mansions and their yachts, et cetera, et cetera.
And they really get people stuck on some stuff too that's extremely unhealthy and just really starts to rot the soul. I mean, no part of going to a DR, I mean, unless you're going in for a broken bone or emergency, I don't see how they're equipped to heal in any way.
They're horrible for preventive medicine. No, I mean they're
going to make it worse.
There's nothing there, in our opinion, for preventive medicine. Again, if I fall off the motorcycle and need my arm set. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. but yeah, no, as far as those things, especially preventive, there's nothing about building your immune system, detoxifying, deworming. All this stuff was known by the masses until the Rockefeller system came into place and took over all the schooling and, grabbed control. They took hold of the reins and they steered us to the healthcare disaster we have now. Eating just one egg a week is associated with 47% lower risk of Alzheimer's dementia, 49% less Alzheimer's brain pathology, primarily because of choline, omega-3s, and lutein. But again, they have you afraid of the cholesterol, and a lot of people were giving up on eggs. They had that fad with fat-free and low-fat. Fat was never the problem. Look to the pyramid, right? The pyramid was loading us up on simple carbs. That's the problem. Sugar is a problem. Raw milk from pastured, not pasteurized animals is a living food. Pasteurization destroys enzymes, bacteria, and bioactive proteins. It makes it kind of like dead. This is the thing. Then homogenization oxidizes the fat. It's like you're sold a corpse and told it's safer. Again, just now, the insanity is starting to become painfully obvious. There's a reason why raw milk is outlawed. How about we were talking about cholesterol? Acceptable cholesterol in 1960 was 300. Then they changed it to 240. Then they changed it to 200. Every time they lower the number, another 50 million Americans need to go get a prescription. That's not medicine. That's marketing. Pfizer made $125 billion selling Lipitor. And then how about all the people that end up going into a DR and getting prescribed something because they have the onset of Alzheimer's, dementia, and everything else?
They create the problem and then charge for the solution, and the solution makes it even worse, and it goes on. And, it just, once you realize it, once you see it, you can't unsee it, and it just enrages you. So it is very difficult. If you do need a doctor, if you're stuck into the system, it does make it hard, because you're always looking at your doctor wondering, how do they even know what they're doing? And you have to question their integrity, because a lot of them do, and they continue to do it. They don't want to. I think a lot of them have to pay bills and stuff. They have to pay their schooling costs. So, and then others, it's the red tape. And, I know we have very special EEARTS family members who are doctors, and they're sick and tired of the red tape. They're staying in as long as they can to actually be of some service or be a bridge, but it's hard. It's really, really hard. If you're a doctor and you know about healing, it is hard to be in there.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, look at the evidence for this being a script and these being actors. But again, the lives lost, it's our lives, it's our families' lives, our loved ones. It's just so sad. It's all just a script, and they are actors, but they have real consequences that they bring on us all. JD and Usha have a baby boy, first child born to a sitting VP in more than 150 years. That's interesting in and of itself, and you always wonder how things like this are going to fit into the bigger script of things. I do think, that Cindy saw him being the guy that was leading the country during the time of WW3. Do you agree when you look at his face? Do you remember what the guides had showed you back then in 2020? I think it was August or September of 2020.
Well, yeah, at the blue eyes and the short brown hair and like the baby face, and just somebody I really didn't expect to see. That's what I was shown on that particular timeline, but we'll have to see.
Yeah, absolutely. So again, I do think we can really change timelines, and I think we have been. I think we've actually avoided the worst of the timelines, but there's still definitely some hurdles. And one of you guys brought this up, the Barbeau basket. It's a rare astrological planetary configuration occurring when? Right now, July 19th, 20th, and 21st, basically, is the center point. Named after French astrologer André Barbeau, it involves 4 outer planets, Jupiter in Leo, Pluto in Aquarius, Uranus in Gemini, and Neptune in Aries, forming a geometric basket or cradle pattern, with the peak alignment occurring right now. Astrologers interpret this alignment as the significant turning point for collective transformation, characterized by Jupiter-Pluto opposition, highlighting tensions between individual ambition and collective good. That makes a lot of sense. Often links to shifts in leadership and power structures. That makes perfect sense. Harmonious aspects, trines and sextiles from Uranus and Neptune are seen as fostering innovation, technological advancement, and spiritual courage, which we need in these times. And absolutely, right now, with everything that's coming out, if we didn't have this leadership, we'd be looking at what would seem to be a golden age to us. Literally. Can you imagine people living 10 times as long and really eliminating so many diseases? I think most people are more than ready for peace to break out everywhere. It's only the manipulation of the power structure on the planet that keeps that from happening. Barbeau theorized this pattern marks the end of chaotic cycles and the beginning of a more cooperative, progressive era, potentially influencing global views on technology, equality, and institutional reform. So again, these things do take time. That's the thing. I think there's an impatience and we all want it right now. And we can't blame you. We want it right now too. It would be wonderful to finish out like the last 20, 30 years of life with a peaceful time. Then maybe that 20 or 30 years might turn a lot longer. But again, it's about the system and removing the system, because it has to be removed and we have to find new ways of doing things.
Indeed.
Did you know ancient Rome had a strange hair law? Long locks out, bald heads in. Yeah, in late antique Rome, a bad hair day could become a legal matter. In 416 AD, emperors Honorius and Theodosius II prohibited long hair inside Rome. What? And its surrounding districts, roughly at the same time that an influential philosopher was portraying bald men as healthier, wiser, and altogether more trustworthy. Oh, isn't this interesting? Was it because the German barbarians with long hair were at the gates, so to speak? Or could it have something to do with the fact that long hair is believed in many spiritual traditions to act as an antenna for psychic abilities, intuition, and energy reception? Proponents suggest the hair absorbs and transmits subtle frequencies. Longer, healthier hair enhancing these effects by connecting the wearer to higher consciousness, cosmic energy, or the divine. Many Native American tribes view long hair as a physical manifestation of spiritual strength and sensory antenna. An often cited anecdote claims that Navajo and Choctaw code talkers in the Vietnam War lost their heightened tracking and intuitive abilities when they were forced to cut their hair to military standards. Yogic and Sikh practices. In Kundalini Yoga, the hair is considered a conduit for prana and cosmic energy, helping to raise your Kundalini energy and stimulate the pineal gland. Sikhs keep their hair uncut as a sacred gift from God, believing it preserves spiritual energy and strength in the aura. Some mystics claim hair enhances telepathy, extrasensory perception, and the ability to detect lies or emotional shifts. So, is this what the leadership of ancient Rome was trying to stop?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, that's really interesting, isn't it? Underwater ruins off Louisiana have revived the theory of 12,000-year-old lost city. We have talked about this before. This submerged shoreline and long presumed uh, nothingness. Yeah, no, there's remnants of what we might call Atlantis, which again was a worldwide civilization. It was a worldwide advanced civilization that interacted with extraterrestrials coming and going all the time. This is what we're heading back to. We're heading back to an age in which you're going to have open contact. And, talking about that, here we have Ross Coulthart dropping images of alleged extraterrestrial tech and alien languages. There's been so much coming out. It can be overwhelming, but this is where we are now. It's going to be really exciting, and I can't wait, for when they introduce people, even though they might introduce some of the fallen Pleiadians as Galactic Federation members. I totally expect a twist, and them, again, distort things. But I still think it's good that it just comes out because, we've really been kept in the dark too long.
Yeah, we deserve a break, and thank you so much, Mario. We definitely appreciate the support. It keeps us able to continue on doing the videos despite the hammering of the algorithms is just killing us. Hopefully we'll have a breakthrough someday, but this definitely helps. Thank you.
And this is talking about, again, the symmetry that we see all around the world. If you look closely, and especially like I'm on Google Earth a lot and looking at these things, you see the symmetry and the patterns all around the world. And you do see, too, in some areas where there might be nothing in the desert at all and no knowledge of any huge urban sprawl in some areas in the desert that have never in our era or in our history books had massive amounts of people living. And you'll see patterns like this that tell you that, there was a lot of people living in certain areas, way more than there are now. I think our planet has had way more people on it than it does now in the past. And something happened and they were totally, totally wiped out. Again, I hope that we can avert that. And then we have this. Yes.
A number of things that I've heard from people in the Pentagon, that the buzzword in the secret of secrets in the Pentagon is the Sumerian gods are returning, and that's what they're referring to as that whole area that Peter's.
Wow. Can you repeat that again, just in case anybody missed it? The buzzword
in the Pentagon, in the the military circles that are in the know about the cover up here, they kind of in whisper tones talk about the return of the Sumerian gods. And they're talking about the what we would call aliens or fallen angels returning into the Middle East, into Old Sumer area.
The Anunnaki.
Well, could be.
Under the other ancient names.
Do you think that has anything to do with why we're in
a number of things?
Yeah, again, the second coming. What really is the second coming when you think about it? Loka samasta sukhi no bhavantu. May all beings everywhere be happy and free, and may our own words, thoughts, acts, and deeds contribute to the happiness and freedom of all. Again, thank you guys for your support. Thank you so much, Mario, and thank you so much, Crypto Geezer. Cindy's going to give us some dings, and then tomorrow be on the lookout. We'll put notification up for what time we're going to go live on Heart's Ohm. Heart's Ohm is, again, our newest, youngest channel, but I think it is 3 years old or close to 3 years old at this time. And I know there's probably 300 or 400 videos up on there. So this will be a first, and I think it's long overdue as we're trying to do some expansion in some, different directions as well. So this is, again, Heart's Ohm, a place of refuge and resource for souls diving deep into their own unique spirituality. It's not a one-size-fits-all kind of place.
Before we go, I just wanted to say something. As far as the firefighter from Provo, Utah, his wife and 3 sons were killed by the flash flood. I wanted to send that family and their loved ones love and healing. Special thanks to Crypto Geezer and Mario for your support. All of our mods, you guys are amazing. Thank you so much for the good work. It really, really helps us a great deal. We need the help. We need all the support we can get. We can't do this alone. So with that said, here's some dings. Hold on. You guys are the best. Source bless and namaste.
Much love, much gratitude. See you tomorrow night, guys.